Did the Astros just expose the Dodgers, or is it just a bump on the road for Los Angeles?
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, your team every day. Boy, was it a rough weekend for the boys in blue, not only being swept by the Astros at Dodger Stadium, but Shohei Ohtani is struggling big time, and the injury bug is now starting to hit position players. I'll be talking about that in today's show, which is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. If you're an everydayer of Locked On Dodgers, you might be asking yourself, who's this talking to me right now? Well, I'm Harry Ruiz. Nice to meet you. Mucho gusto. Today's my first appearance here, so let me do a quick introduction of myself. I've been working in sports media for nearly 2 decades, including the last 5 years as a Spanish play-by-play radio broadcaster for the Las Vegas Raiders. Plus, since 2024, I'm also the Spanish voice of USC football. While from August through January, I'm super busy on the gridiron calling football games. Dodgers baseball is a huge passion of mine as a native Angelino and former season ticket holder. And I'm excited to join the Locked On Dodgers family co-hosting this podcast with Travis Rogers, who has the day off, and he'll be back on Wednesday for our first show together. It's a huge opportunity to be on this platform where I'll get to bring you my takes regarding my favorite team that before I only posted on social media and in text threads with friends who are also fellow Dodger fans. Well, after getting that out of the way, let's kick things off with the no-show that the Dodgers had this weekend at home in a battle against the Astros. Los Angeles and Houston, they are two of the best teams in the majors. Both are divisional leaders, and between them, they have won 4 out of the last 8 World Series. I expected a competitive series, but it was far from it. Friday night, record-setting loss, 18-1, worst loss ever at Dodger Stadium since it opened in 1962. And the fans, they stayed till the end because it was 4th of July and they wanted to watch that fireworks show. So that was torture right there for them. It was the worst home loss for the franchise in 78 years, but also it's the second time this season that they've lost by at least 16 runs at Chavez Ravine after being shut out by the Cubs 16-0 on April 12th. Ouch. It even hurts saying that. On Saturday, it was a Miguel Rojas game, in my opinion, with him throwing the ball away after a chopper in the 3rd inning that broke a 2-2 tie, giving the Astros their first lead of the game, and they never looked back. Mickey Rowe hit a 2-run bomb in the 4th to put LA within 1, but they ended up losing 6-4. Key moment, Mookie Betts led off the bottom of the 7th inning with LA losing by only 1 run. He hit a fly ball that was misread by Cooper Hummel and rolled all the way back to the wall. Mookie started rounding second when the left fielder was already throwing the ball back to the infield, and Betts was easily out at third. This was one of only 2 Dodgers hits in the last 4 innings of the game. You're down and you only get 2 hits in the last 4 innings? That's terrible. On Sunday, the Dodgers bats were ice cold despite ending the game with a total of 7 hits. Michael Conforto in the 2nd and Dalton Rushing in the 8th were the only players to get in scoring position for Los Angeles, and with that, they threw down the drain Emmett Sheehan's good start, which was the bright spot for the team during the series finale that they ended up losing 5-1. Swept by the Astros in back-to-back seasons. 7 consecutive losses to Houston if we go back to 2023. This Dodgers team was flat throughout the weekend. Like I said, no show. Embarrassing. It's the first series loss since dropping 2 out of 3 at St. Louis in early June. First sweep since dropping all 3 to the Angels at Chavez Ravine in mid-May. Here's where I ask the question. Did the Dodgers get exposed? Did the Astros figure out LA? And is there a blueprint now out there for the Dodgers now being beatable? because they came into this series with the best record in baseball. Right now, they still have the best record in the National League, and they are the divisional leaders in the NL West. But will there be teams looking at what the Astros did this weekend, the way that they approached at-bats, the way that they approached pitching? Of course, the Astros had great defense on the field, and you can't teach that. Those are the guys that they got their skills and they took care of business. But I feel that LA, they barely have a winning record right now against winning teams. Barely have a winning record against teams over 500. 20 wins and 19 losses. And now they're going to be on the road against two teams that fit that description. Milwaukee from Monday through Wednesday, then San Francisco from Friday through Sunday. It's great that the Dodgers took care of business before Houston against the likes of Washington, Colorado, Kansas City, and the White Sox. All teams with losing records, teams that you should beat. And they did. That's what they should do when you compare the payrolls between LA and all those teams. But to lay an egg against Houston, playing the Dodgers is every team's World Series. Los Angeles will have a series off here and there, but man, this weekend, they were inferior in every phase of the game. Batting, pitching, defensively. It was a tough watch as a Dodgers fan because you don't want to lose against the Astros after what happened in 2017. Losing your first World Series since 1988. You go into the Fall Classic and go down in 7 games, and then you end up finding out about the cheating scandal. Dodgers fans can't stand the Astros. Then Jose Altuve, the lone position player still on the Stros from that year, comes out and clobbers you the way that he did. That's the worst case scenario, and it happened. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He just had a great series. Want to add insult to injury? They didn't have 2 of their top stars in Jeremy Pena and Yordan Alvarez who are injured. That's where we can't have excuses about who you send to the mound or to the plate. Look at the Astros. They were missing 2 key players. They didn't send to the mound their top pitcher, Brown. He wasn't part of the rotation. They did use Framber Valdez, who's great, but they didn't have to send Brown, and they still swept the Dodgers. So I get it. You look at the Dodgers pitchers throughout the weekend, and it's 2 rookies and Emmett Sheehan, who hadn't pitched in 2 years. Of course, Shohei Ohtani opened the game on Saturday, but that was Robo's game, and Robleski ended up allowing 5 runs. So it's tough, but that's what you're playing with right now, and you got to go out and get results. If you don't have the best starting pitchers out there because it's not their turn, it's not Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Clayton Kershaw's turn, and you got young players out there, your bats got to respond. And the bats for the Dodgers were MIA. You look over on the first game, 1 run for the Dodgers. Will Smith solo home run. You look on the game over on Saturday, 4 runs, and you only scored 2 before trailing the rest of the way. You look over on Sunday's game, 1 run, and it was Dalton Rushing, the rookie, who ended up producing it. Where's everybody else? Where's the $400+ million payroll that the Dodgers have right now? You have to have a complete game right here. Well, hopefully this weekend got Mookie Betts out of the slump that he found himself in during the second half of June. Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman, he had 9 hits over the last 7 games. But Shohei is having his worst stretch since joining the Dodgers. In just a moment, is Ohtani swing paying the price for him pitching again? Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. After I joined Monarch Money, I was shocked to see how many subscriptions I had. And also, all that takeout, man, it definitely stacked up. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spendings in one place, So, in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thank you for tuning in wherever you may be via your favorite podcast app or on our YouTube channel, which keeps growing every single day. Turn on your notifications. That way you'll get the heads up the moment a new episode or a YouTube short with the latest Dodgers news drops. Believe me, if you bleed blue, this is the place to be. Today's my debut here on Locked On Dodgers, so I want everyone in the YouTube comments to let me know where you're tuning in from. On Saturday, the reigning and defending National League Most Valuable Player, Shohei Ohtani, had his fourth pitching appearance for the Dodgers. He went 2 innings where he only allowed 1 hit, a leadoff single to Isaac Paredes, but he ended up retiring the next 5 batters in a row, including striking out the side in the 2nd inning. That was exciting to watch in person. His strikeouts matched the amount that he had in the first 3 starts of the season combined. So, 1 inning during his first 2 outings with LA. 2 innings is in his next 2 outings with the Dodgers. It'll be interesting to see if he pitches more next time that he's on the mound, probably this weekend in the Bay. That's positive for the Dodgers. The Japanese superstar's ERA is now down to 1.5 after pitching consecutive innings, 5 of them without players crossing the plate, and only one of them, one guy, getting into scoring position. Great. The hope is that for someday, we get Shohei Ohtani being that dual threat that won him the MVP in the American League both in 2021 and 2023 with the Anaheim Angels. The problem here is Shohei Ohtani's batting numbers have dipped since he started pitching. He's batting .212 since he took the mound for the first time with Los Angeles on June 16th against the Padres. Yes, I know that he hit his 30th home run in that span on Friday night, and he became the quickest Dodger to get to 30 home runs before the All-Star game. Congratulations to him. It's always exciting getting to watch Shohei Ohtani play. But over the last 8 games, he has 3 base hits in 30 at-bats. 3 base hits and 30 at-bats. If you know how to do math, you know that batting average is pretty low. And it's very close to be a .0 something if he doesn't get a hit in his next at-bat over there in Milwaukee. I was there at the stadium on Saturday. I went to watch game 2 of this series between Dodgers and Astros. I was like, all right, we laid an egg on Friday. It was terrible. Fortunately, I didn't go on Friday because I was debating between Friday and Saturday. Shohei pitching on Saturday made me say, absolutely, I'm going on Saturday instead of Friday. I was there at the stadium. So the moment that the top of the first inning ended, I kept my focus on Shohei Ohtani. I watched him go close to the railing there at the dugout. He didn't go down to the dugout. One of the bat boys already had all his equipment there ready. His elbow guard, his helmet, his gloves. He had everything ready there for him. Shohei just took his hat off. He took his glove off. He left it there. He left his stuff as a pitcher and then started putting all his gear together. And you know that with the pace of play rules that there are out there today, it's like, hey, you got to be ready for whenever that clock hits zeros. So I was watching. I actually posted on TikTok all that procedure for Shohei Ohtani from the moment that he gets to the railing to start switching gear to when he takes his first swing or watches his first pitch as the leadoff hitter for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, he only had 2 practice swings before heading into the batter's box while Michael Bublé is feeling good was playing at Dodger Stadium. Baseball players and pro athletes in general are monsters of habit. I've been around boxers. I've been around basketball players, football players. They all have their routine and they have it down to a T, almost down to the second. I remember going to watch Clayton Kershaw when I was a season ticket holder for the Dodgers, and you saw his routine the day that he pitched from the exact minute, you knew at what time he was going to be walking out to the field, start stretching, start long tossing. And that's the case with almost every pro athlete. And now Shohei Ohtani has to start switching what he had been doing with the Dodgers since he debuted for the team in 2024 as a batter, where he wasn't pitching. He was only swinging at balls. Now it's taking a toll clearly on him because Shohei, he hasn't been on rhythm since he started pitching. He's not the same Shohei Ohtani before he took the mound for the Dodgers. So now he needs to start getting used to pitching once per week after not doing so since 2023, which feels like an eternity ago when he was doing great individually with the Angels, but that team wasn't winning. Now he's with the Dodgers. He's winning. He's feeling himself. He knows that he can contribute to a team to be great. And look at what he's doing with the Dodgers. Last year, he couldn't pitch. So what did he do? He stole 50 plus bases because he wanted to give this team more than just clobbering balls out of the park. He's like, all right, if I get on base, if I walk, I'm going to steal second base. I'm going to be a threat on the base paths. Now that he's a pitcher and he's batting as well, he's not risking those stolen bases as much anymore. He's focusing on the pitching, and man, the expectations are sky high when it comes to Shohei Ohtani. He was batting nearly 300 before he made his first pitching appearance this year. Since he started pitching again, he's closer to 200 in that span. That's no bueno. That's not good. But you know what? He's Shohei Ohtani. He's a unicorn. He's a once-in-a-generation type of player, and I have trust that he's going to be able to figure everything out and get back to that level that we're used to watching him play, because he's still a threat when he's out there at the batter's box. He's still a guy that the pitchers are going to try to avoid as much as possible pitching in the zone. He's going to get his walks. He's also going to get strikeouts because he's a big risk versus reward kind of player. But like I said, I have a feeling Shohei Ohtani, sooner rather than later, is going to get his axe straight, and he's going to get back to that Shohei Ohtani that we're used to watching on the field for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, what's worse for the team right now is that the pitchers that were getting the bulk of the innings after Ohtani opens games had a bad weekend. Justin Robleski, he allowed 5 runs, 4 of them clean on Saturday. And Ben Kasparius, he allowed 6 earned runs on Friday for his second outing in a row with that amount surrendered to the other team. Both rookies have done a better than expected job for the Dodgers in a time of need with so many pitchers injured. Fortunately, reinforcements might be coming for the starting rotation as soon as this week, but the lineup might be taking a hit with multiple injuries. I'll tell you all about it coming up next on Locked On Dodgers. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but also on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also find me on social media at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. I'm closing the show with both good news and bad news. Most of the times when you ask someone what they prefer hearing first, they say bad. So let me start off with that. Max Muncy will be out for at least 6 weeks with a left knee injury. He took a helmet to the knee late on Wednesday night's game against the White Sox when Michael A. Taylor tried stealing third base. Fortunately, it's a bone bruise. That means it's the best case scenario because there's no structural damage. If you were watching that game, the series finale against the White Sox, the night that Clayton Kershaw got to 3,000 strikeouts, you saw that hit. You saw how Michael A. Taylor's helmet went straight at Max Muncy's knee. And I'll say this personally, but I have a feeling a lot of you guys and gals thought the same way. I felt that Max Muncy was done for the year. I saw that and I felt bad, man. I didn't like it. Fortunately, there's no structural damage, and Mad Max said 6 weeks. Now let's see if it's that time lapse or if it ends up being more. Now the question is, who will fill in for Muncy? Dave Roberts said it'll be a combination of these three players: Miguel Rojas, Kike Hernandez, and, surprise, Tommy Edman. Kike and Miggy Rowe, we expected them to be options because they've played at third base for the Dodgers in the past during their long tenures with the team. Tommy Edman, on the other end, he hasn't played third base since 2022 when he was a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. I understand he did play 55 games in the hot corner for the Cardinals his rookie season in 2019, but that's a while back. That was even before the pandemic, and that feels like a lifetime ago. The big question is, after seeing Miguel Rojas and Kike Hernandez, which, by the way, he has a shoulder situation going on right there, and he's not 100%. It doesn't affect his fielding, but it does affect his swinging. That's what Dave Roberts said. After what we saw from Kike and Miggy this weekend, and Tommy Edman taking ground balls at third base for the first time in a long time, is that what the Dodgers should be rolling with for the next 6 weeks? Or should they be looking at outside options? The trade deadline is July 31st. If we count 6 weeks from the moment Max Muncy got injured until 6 weeks ahead, that means mid-August. That's when we're looking at it. Would you be comfortable with the Dodgers rolling the dice and going with the guys they got in that locker room right now? I don't know. I like Tommy Edman. I like Miggy Rowe. I like Kike Hernandez. But there's injuries all over the place, and you never know if that timetable that they have right now, where they say 6 weeks, if it's going to be exactly 6 weeks or not. What if it ends up bleeding into September? What if it ends up going into October? What if Max Muncy can't come back and you don't end up pulling the trigger for another player that could be available to come help you in that position? Or even this question: what if Max Muncy comes back and he's not playing the same way that he did when he was playing right now for the Dodgers and he was killing it? It would be good to have a backup option right there at third base. We saw a couple of errors from Miggy Rowe this weekend, or well, one counted as an error. The other one was a bobble that, because he bobbled the ball, he wasn't able to get a double play and it just the out at first. So that's the big question mark right now for the Dodgers. Let's see if they end up staying put with the guys that they have already in that locker room, in that clubhouse, or if they end up going with an outside option, or option C, Alex Freeland, the third-round pick in 2022 for the Dodgers out of UCF. Right now, he's batting .267 with 10 home runs, 61 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases with the OKC Comets. But he has mostly played at shortstop since being called up to the AAA level late last season. So it could be a situation where he doesn't have that experience at third base, but you could look at him like a project and be like, all right, learn right here, learn on the job. You might get burned, but you'll learn it that way. There's been guys who have in the past come up and helped the Dodgers. Look at the case of James Outman. Look at all these guys that are coming into the bullpen from the OKC team from AAA because of all the injuries. And some of them have been successful, some of them haven't. But the only way you find out is giving them a shot. So let me know in the comments. What do you prefer? Playing it with the three guys that you have already, Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez, and Miguel Rojas, looking for a trade with another team for a third baseman, or giving a guy like Alex Freeland a shot right now with the Dodgers. So one starter from the lineup is out at least until mid-August. Now, two guys who are less than 100%, and that didn't get any better on Saturday, are right fielder Teoscar Hernandez, who has been dealing with a groin injury, and in the second game against Houston, took a foul ball off his left foot. He got the day off on Sunday. Same case with second baseman Tommy Edman, who was hit by a pitch on his right foot on Saturday after a stint on the IL with a right ankle injury. Man, he can't catch a break right there, right? Fortunately, Teo scans came back clean, but he has soreness in his left foot. Edman has a hairline fracture in his right pinky toe. That doesn't sound good, but it doesn't seem like he has to go back on the IL. The situation here is that Tommy tanks. can be playing, and that will depend on his pain tolerance. Not the best case scenario. The good thing is that the All-Star game break is coming up right around the corner next week, and the team will have multiple days to rest these guys and hopefully get better for the second half of the season. I'll say this, in a game like Sundays where the Dodgers were missing 3 of their regulars in the lineup like Muncy, Edman, and Teoscar, they need their 3 MVPs on the top of the lineup to deliver, and they didn't do so in a consistent manner. If they don't do that this week in their series in Milwaukee and San Francisco, that divisional lead that's at 7 games over the Padres and Giants at this moment, that could shrink big time before the All-Star break. Well, that's enough for bad news. I promised some good news, and here it is. The 2 pitchers with 6-figure contracts the Dodgers currently have on the injured list might be coming back very soon. Tyler Glasnow made his 3rd rehab assignment last Thursday. His 3rd rehab assignment start last Thursday, striking out 8 over 4 in the 3rd innings here in Las Vegas. And his return to the majors is projected to be during this road trip, either Wednesday in Milwaukee or Friday in San Francisco. That's very good news for the Dodgers. Blake Snell, he threw a live batting practice session on Saturday, his 2nd of the week. And he is now cleared for a rehab assignment with the OKC Comets and is targeting a potential return to the big leagues after the All-Star break. He has only pitched twice for the Dodgers since signing for them during the 2025 offseason. Those were big signings that the Dodgers had. Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell. And they haven't been able to contribute big things for the Dodgers this season. Like I said, Blake Snell, barely 2 games this year. One of them the home opener, and one of them right after that, and nowhere to be seen having an injury. Now, if we're able to get them back, this is great news for a Dodgers rotation, which at the moment features Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Clayton Kershaw, which, by the way, both were selected as All-Stars. Congratulations to them. Yoshi, his 1st All-Star game. Kersh, his 11th. He was one of those legacy players, those legends that was selected by Rob Manfred in the past. He did that with Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols in 2022. Now Kershaw gets to be an All-Star in 2025. Will it be his final All-Star game? Is he gone after the season? That's a topic for another day, but we hope that Kersh enjoys this one out there in Atlanta. Going back to what I was talking about, besides Yoshi and Kersh, LA has Dustin May, Shohei Ohtani as an opener, and Emmett Sheehan to complete the rotation at the moment. The potential returns of Glasnow and Snell would have this rotation in position to have the Dodgers in a great spot. How would that rotation be? Yamamoto, Kershaw, Ohtani as an opener, and potentially Sheehan, the bulk guy, behind Shohei. Then add Snell and Glasnow. That's a pretty damn good lineup for the boys in blue, for pretty good rotation for the Dodgers. Having solid guys like Kasparius and Robleski, they would be shifted to the bullpen. Blake Trinan, he will have a rehab assignment in Rancho Cucamonga and is expected to be available later this month. Tony Gonsolin, he is targeting a return in August. And there, the pitching could be set up in a good position to have the batters now without all that pressure of having to score a lot of runs to win games. Like you look over at Friday's game, you would have had to score 19 runs to win that game. You look at Saturday's game, you would have had to score 7 runs to win that game. You look at Sunday's game, you would have needed 6 runs to win that game. If this rotation ends up being in that position that I just mentioned, where you have Yamamoto, Kershaw, Ohtani, Sheehan potentially being the guy with the bulk innings behind him, Snell and Glasnow, that would leave the Dodgers in a great spot for the second half of the season and the postseason. The big key here, just stay healthy. Will they be able to do so? We still got a lot of season to go. July, August, September, October, 4 months left of Dodger baseball. Let's see if that rotation is able to stay healthy once Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell come back. Thank you, everybody, for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Nights every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Nights on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'll be back tomorrow to talk LA kicking off their last road trip before the All-Star break with a 3-game series in Milwaukee. I hope you enjoyed the show. Take care and go Blue.